Silent moments carry the loudest signals, and on November 22nd, a rare current begins to move beneath the surface of your life. Not a prediction, but a doorway. A shift that appears quietly, the way dawn enters a room without asking for permission. Many overlook this kind of moment, but those who sense it know something inside is preparing to rise. I am Shi Heng Yi, and today I will guide you through the deeper meaning of this threshold. In Shaolin philosophy, time is not measured only by days and nights. It is measured by rhythm, by the pulse of your awareness, by the alignment between your inner world and the world around you. Some dates hold no power at all, until you step into them with clarity. November 22nd is one of those rare markers. It reflects your readiness, not your destiny. You will learn why this moment feels different, why your spirit becomes more sensitive right now, and how ancient teachings describe these shifts long before modern people began calling them quantum jumps. You will discover the hidden signs that your energy is rising, the subtle forces that begin testing your discipline, and how to respond with the calm decisiveness of a trained mind. Stay with me until the end, because the final insight may be the one that changes the way you move through the days ahead. This video is more than explanation, it is guidance for those standing at the edge of transformation. If you feel a quiet pull inside you, trust it. Your next chapter may already be unfolding. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If our teachings support your path, I invite you to subscribe and continue this journey with us. A shift begins long before the world notices it. It starts in the quiet place where your thoughts settle, where your breath slows, where something inside you finally decides to rise. This is where the true meaning of a quantum jump is found. Not in miracles, not in sudden luck, but in a powerful upgrade of consciousness. I have seen this many times. A student trains for years with no visible progress. Then one day, without warning, something clicks. Their posture softens, their breath deepens, their awareness sharpens. Nothing changed outwardly, yet everything changed. This is the essence of the quantum shift. In Shaolin teachings, we understand that the inner realm moves faster than the outer world. Effort that comes only from the body is slow. Effort that comes from the mind, the breath, and the spirit together. This is where transformation happens with surprising speed. When the frequency of your thoughts lifts, your entire life begins to reorganize itself around this new vibration. Think of it as tuning a string instrument. For a long time, it may sound dull or tense, but with one precise adjustment, the tone becomes pure. Your consciousness works the same way. When your inner frequency rises, your decisions sharpen, your emotional reactions soften, and opportunities that once passed unnoticed now reveal themselves. At first, it may feel as though nothing external has shifted, but inside, a new rhythm begins to form. Your mind becomes less tangled, your intuition becomes louder, and slowly, the world around you starts responding differently. People, events, and paths aligning with the new state you carry. A quantum jump is simply the moment your inner world becomes strong enough to reshape your outer path. And that moment often arrives in silence, in sincerity, in the small but powerful choice to think, breathe, and act from a higher place within yourself. There's a moment just before transformation begins, when the world seems to lean into silence. Not because everything around you stops, but because something within you finally chooses to listen. Every true leap starts here, in this quiet place where the mind softens and the breath deepens. The Shaolin masters say, stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the mastery of movement. This teaching comes from centuries of watching the mind behave like a restless animal. When untrained, it jumps, reacts, and wanders. But when guided with discipline, it becomes a loyal companion, focused, steady, and clear. There is an old story of a young disciple who sought rapid progress. He pushed himself harder each day, believing effort alone would unlock his potential. The master simply pointed to the surface of a lake. When the water is disturbed, he said, "You cannot see your reflection. When it is still, the truth reveals itself." The student learned that clarity never arrives through force. It comes when the inner waters settle. Returning to stillness is not punishment or withdrawal. It is the practice of aligning yourself with your own depth. The noise inside, old fears, scattered thoughts, memories replaying, creates a fog that hides your path. When you quiet the internal storm, even for a few breaths, the next step becomes visible. Some people look for signs in the world, but the most reliable sign is the quality of your own silence. In that silence, your intentions become sincere. Your actions become deliberate, your perception sharpens enough to sense opportunities that were always there but overlooked. Stillness is the first doorway to mastery. It trains the mind to witness without reacting, to breathe without rushing, and to move without wasting energy. When the inner world becomes quiet, the outer world begins to reorganize around your new clarity. The mind often holds on as if letting go could erase existence itself. Old identities, familiar roles, past failures and triumphs all become anchors, keeping the spirit tethered to what no longer serves. To move forward, one must confront this attachment, not with force, but with awareness and patience. Shaolin practice calls this process emptying the vessel. Imagine a cup filled to the brim with tea. No matter how fresh or exquisite the next pour may be, it will overflow unless the cup is first emptied. The same principle applies to the self. To receive a higher frequency, a new understanding, or a sudden shift, the container of your consciousness must first release what it clings to. There is a story of a monk who had trained for years in the martial arts. His movements were precise, his discipline unquestioned, yet he struggled to move beyond the plateau. One day the master asked him to leave behind the rank he had earned, the reputation he had built, even the titles he cherished. At first he resisted, fearing emptiness. But in surrendering these attachments, something remarkable happened. His body moved with ease, his awareness expanded, and the next level of skill unfolded naturally. The process is never about erasing the past, but about not letting it dictate the present. Memories, labels, and stories can guide, but they must not confine. Releasing identity attachments is an act of courage. It requires the discipline to observe oneself without judgment and the wisdom to distinguish what nourishes from what restricts. In this emptying, the spirit creates space for the unknown to enter. Fresh insight, new energy, and heightened perception can flow freely. The vessel is ready, and the journey can continue, not weighed down by who one was, but open to the possibility of who one is becoming. True power arises not from effort alone, but from harmony within. When the mind races in one direction, the body moves in another, and the heart clings elsewhere. Energy leaks like water through a cracked vessel. Progress falters, intentions blur, and the path forward seems endless. To leap forward, one must first gather the scattered fragments of self. Shaolin teachings speak of Yi, Qi, Li, mind, breath, and strength. Yi guides awareness, focusing thought with clarity and purpose. Qi flows through the breath, circulating energy and stabilizing the spirit. Li is the disciplined expression of power, the manifestation of intent through the body. Alone, each has merit. Together, they create movement that is precise, effortless, and unstoppable. There is an old tale of a young disciple attempting to strike with all his strength, yet failing to land a single blow effectively. His master observed quietly and asked him to close his eyes and breathe in perfect rhythm. The hand must follow the mind, the master said, and the breath must carry both. Only when the disciple aligned his thought, breath, and body did the strike land with both precision and force. The lesson was clear. Power is born of unity, not intensity. Alignment is not a one-time act. It is a practice of awareness, a daily tuning of the self. When thought, breath, and action move together, energy becomes coherent, intention sharpens, and even the smallest movement carries weight. Conversely, when fragmented, effort scatters, and even hours of work produce little result. To cultivate mastery is to observe these patterns continuously, where the mind wanders, where the breath falters, where strength is misapplied, and gently restore alignment. In this harmony lies the key to sudden advancement, the quiet force that carries one across thresholds previously unreachable. True leaps are never chaotic. They arrive when inner unity has been achieved. Change often whispers before it speaks. It does not announce itself with fanfare, but through subtle shifts that quietly reshape perception. The body, mind, and spirit begin to respond differently, signaling readiness for a step that has long been waiting. These are not coincidences or mere whims. They are markers of energetic acceleration, a quiet invitation from within to rise. Intuition sharpens first. Thoughts that once felt scattered begin to coalesce into insights that cannot be ignored. Decisions once heavy with doubt suddenly feel clear. It is as if an unseen hand guides attention toward what matters most, separating what is necessary from what is habitual or distracting. Alongside this clarity comes discomfort. Patterns that were once familiar now feel restrictive. Old routines, relationships, or beliefs that provided comfort can begin to chafe. This unease is not a warning to resist change, but a signal that the self is ready to shed what no longer serves it. The inner spirit seeks expansion, and the old container no longer fits. An urge to reorganize life often follows. Actions, priorities, and even the way time is spent begin to shift naturally. One may feel drawn to new disciplines, deeper study, or simpler, more intentional living. These impulses reflect the body and mind synchronizing with an inner rhythm previously unnoticed. Shaolin philosophy teaches that mastery requires awareness of such moments. Those who recognize these subtle signs do not rush blindly, but observe patiently, cultivating readiness through discipline, strengthening breath, refining focus, and maintaining calm amidst discomfort ensures that the leap occurs with balance, not chaos. These subtle markers, intuition, clarity, discomfort, and reordering, are proof that transformation is near. They are the quiet signals that preparation is complete and the inner world is aligning for a shift that can redefine the path ahead. True readiness always begins within. Before any true leap, fear rises like a shadow at the threshold. It is not an enemy to be destroyed, but a sentinel guarding the passage to a higher self. Shaolin philosophy calls this the moment when the old self resists dissolution, when familiarity clings tightly and the comfort of what has always been fights the unknown. This fear often feels intense, even overwhelming. The mind whispers doubts, the body tightens, and the heart hesitates. Yet these sensations are not signs of weakness, they are proof of growth. Each pulse of fear marks the edge of your current limits, signaling that you are stepping beyond what was once safe into uncharted territory. There is a story of a monk standing before the cliff of a new path, tasked with a meditation that demanded complete surrender. As he looked down, fear surged, tempting him to retreat. But the master simply instructed him to breathe, to feel the trembling without judgment, and to step with awareness. Each step was guided not by absence of fear, but by presence of clarity. In acknowledging the fear, the monk realized that it was not a wall, but a gate. To face this gatekeeper is to observe without resistance. Fighting fear often strengthens it, observing it transforms it. By allowing the sensation to exist, one sees it as evidence of readiness rather than a warning to stop. Discipline and patience become the tools. Steady breath, calm focus, and the quiet confidence that the self can endure what is necessary. Fear marks the threshold of transformation. It rises because the old self struggles to hold on. Yet each pulse of fear is also proof that the next level of mastery is near. When met with acceptance and presence, the gate opens naturally, and the step beyond becomes not a leap of chance, but a passage guided by inner clarity. True advancement is rarely born from haste or frenzy. A quantum leap does not arrive through reckless movement or impulsive decisions. It arises when every action is grounded, deliberate, and in harmony with the rhythm of one's inner world. The difference between motion and progress lies in this alignment. Movement without awareness scatters energy, while mindful action amplifies it. Shaolin philosophy embraces the principle of wu-wei effortless alignment. This is not passivity, but the art of moving in accord with the flow of life, allowing the inner self to guide each step. Like water navigating a stream, action becomes powerful precisely because it meets no unnecessary resistance. Force becomes redundant. Direction comes from clarity. There is a story of a monk tasked with crossing a turbulent river. Many tried to dash recklessly, only to be thrown back by the current. He observed the water, felt its rhythm, and moved with precise timing, each step in tune with the flow. Though he moved slowly, he reached the other side with ease. His secret was not speed, but the union of awareness, timing, and intention. To cultivate mindful action, the first step is presence. Observe the impulses, but do not act on every surge. Let choices arise from intention rather than habit. Align thought with breath and breath with movement. Discipline becomes the bridge between desire and execution, transforming small conscious steps into cumulative momentum. When actions match the spirit, the path unfolds naturally. Obstacles are met not with struggle, but with adaptability. Energy no longer leaks into distraction or fear. It is concentrated in purpose. In this way, every movement, however simple, carries force. Momentum grows, not through effort alone, but through harmony. The true leap is not a sudden burst, but the natural outcome of consistent, mindful alignment with the self. Transformation is fragile without awareness. The mind, when untrained, drifts back into old patterns, replaying habits, fears, and conditioned responses. To sustain a new frequency, to remain in the elevated state of a quantum shift, one must cultivate the inner observer, a silent witness that perceives without judgment, notes without interference, and guides without force. In Shaolin practice, this is considered essential. Mastery is not merely the execution of skill, but the conscious presence within each action. A practitioner moves with precision, not because the body obeys instinct alone, but because the mind watches constantly, aware of alignment, intention, and energy. This vigilance prevents regression and ensures every choice supports the new state of being. There is a story of a monk walking through a forest, his path lined with distractions and unseen obstacles. Though outwardly calm, he maintained a quiet awareness of every footfall, every rustle, every shift in the air. When a branch threatened to strike him, he moved with ease, not from reaction, but from observation. His awareness allowed him to act without losing the centered state he had cultivated. Strengthening the inner observer begins with stillness and attention. Observe thoughts as they arise without chasing them. Watch emotions without being swept away. Notice impulses before responding. In doing so, the observer grows, and the mind no longer runs automatically. Each choice becomes conscious, each action deliberate. This practice transforms not only skill, but life itself. The inner observer acts as a safeguard, ensuring that elevated states are sustained rather than fleeting. Through patience, discipline, and mindful attention, one learns the Shaolin way to move, speak, and act while remaining awake, deeply, fully, and unshakably present. In this awareness lies true freedom, the ability to navigate the world without being pulled back into what has already been left behind. True transformation is rarely sudden. A leap in consciousness is not a stroke of luck or a fleeting moment of inspiration. It is the result of consistent, deliberate practice. Shaolin teachings remind us that mastery lies in the details, in the small, repeated choices that shape character and direct energy. Each action, no matter how minor it seems, contributes to the architecture of a new self. There is a story of a young disciple who wished to achieve great skill quickly. He watched others perform remarkable feats and felt impatience, believing that transformation must be immediate. The master, however, guided him to focus on simple daily routines, polishing the floor, aligning his stance, perfecting his breath. Each day, these actions were repeated with attention and care. Over time, the young disciple discovered that what seemed small carried immense weight. The subtle discipline of daily practice compounded into profound capability. Micromastery is the conscious cultivation of habit. It is choosing patience over impulse, presence over distraction, and integrity over convenience. Washing the hands becomes a moment of mindfulness. A step in training becomes an exercise in awareness. A breath becomes a tool to center the mind. These tiny, disciplined actions accumulate, forming a foundation that supports greater leaps. To embody the new self, one must treat each day as a canvas for transformation. The outer world may not immediately reflect the inner shift, but with persistence, the change becomes visible in subtle ways: calmness in decision-making, clarity in thought, strength in presence. Over time, the self begins to operate naturally at this higher frequency. The path of daily micromastery teaches that a quantum leap is not an event, it is a lifestyle. True transformation is built step by step, breath by breath, choice by choice. Each moment becomes an opportunity to strengthen the new self, and in this rhythm, lasting change quietly unfolds. Every great transformation begins quietly, within the rhythm of daily practice and the awareness of each passing moment. A quantum jump is not a stroke of luck or an external miracle. It is the natural outcome of inner readiness meeting opportunity. Through stillness, breath, releasing old identities, mindful action and strengthening awareness, the self aligns with a higher frequency, allowing clarity, discipline, and intention to guide each step. November 22nd reminds us that the right moment often comes not as a spectacle but as a subtle invitation to step forward. When you honor your inner preparation and act with presence, even the smallest choices ripple outward, shaping the life you are ready to live. Let this serve as a reminder that transformation is cultivated, not forced. Embrace the quiet practices, the repeated disciplines, and the gentle observation of yourself. In time, these moments of conscious attention accumulate, and what once felt distant or impossible begins to manifest naturally in your life. Carry this wisdom into your daily life. Observe, align, act with intention, and let each breath guide you closer to your true potential. The path of mastery is not a race. It is a steady unfolding, a practice of becoming more fully present in every moment. If this teaching resonates with your journey, subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire, and continue walking the path of inner strength, mindful presence, and disciplined transformation. Like, share, and return whenever you seek guidance, clarity, or the quiet wisdom of the Shaolin way. Peace and strength be with you.